What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. Y'all try to keep up with me. It's a lot of information. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. In the streets, association is everything. Meaning the company you keep and the people you choose to surround yourself around play a major part on how you will be viewed and really all around survival. Because you are guilty by association. For example, you might be a good kid, but grow up in the trenches around gangs, drugs, and violence. Your neighborhood or guys you grew up with might take the life of an op or a rival from another side of town. You might think to yourself, yeah, those are my homeboys and I grew up over here, but I'm not into what they are into, so I'm good. But in reality, if the ops come back looking for retaliation, nobody is going to take the time out to figure out who you are before they bang that gun. The streets are a world of their own. It makes its own rules, place to place, and in certain places, life is just as cheap as a rumor, someone saying you are affiliated or had something to do with a situation. But when you are young and impressionable, wanting to fit in, we tend to ignore the dangers of our environment. It's the thrill of being a part of something when people ask you where you from, claiming your neighborhood proudly because your section might have a reputation or really be like that. It's all fun and games when everybody is on the block, vibing out, showing love, getting money. That's the bright side of the street life. But on the darker side, male, female, gang, or civilian, the streets are unforgivable and show no love. But unfortunately, a lot of time, people don't realize that until it's too late. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to St. Paul, Minnesota to discuss the case of a Facebook post that led to retaliation in the Twin Cities. All the way back in 2012, 20-year-old Narissa Turner was living life in St. Paul. The young lady was motivated to pursue a better life though, and she had a good reason to. She had a 3-year-old daughter. Nicknamed Nunu by family and friends, Narissa had big dreams of being a recording artist. Nunu rapped and was a singer. The young mother was hoping her talents would take her out of her rough environment she grew up in. See, Nunu was surrounded by gang activity that was going on heavy in the Twin Cities around about this time. At first, most of her friends were heavily affiliated with a local gang called the East Side Boys. Just like any other gang, they had ops and enemies from other neighborhoods, including another local gang called the Selby Siders. Nunu had a best friend and also a roommate, a young lady who we will call Shay. She was also associated with members of the East Side Boys. But somewhere in the mix, the two friends had a bad fallout. This led to Shay going to Facebook, calling Nunu all types of names, and even putting information out about an unsolved homicide of an East Side Boy associate in February 2012. A 22-year-old man named Dominic Neely was dropped off by his father in the 1100 block of Western Avenue in St. Paul. Dominic was going to visit a friend around about 11 a.m. when multiple shots went off, causing neighbors to call local police. When police responded to the location, they found Dominic laying by a garage suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. And unfortunately, the young man and father wouldn't survive his injuries. Even though it was daytime, no one witnessed the shooting. They just heard the shots. As his family pleaded for information, stating Dominic had friends associated with the East Side Boys, but he himself didn't participate in anything. But Shay claimed Nunu was one of the people involved in facilitating the ambush, claiming Nunu had switched sides and was now rotating with the ops, the Selby Siders. She made a post stating, "I'm going to expose you. You shouldn't have never told me you helped set that up." As the word hit the community, members of the East Side Boys felt betrayed, someone they trusted was allegedly rocking with the ops and got their peoples hit. No one knew if Shay was speaking facts or spreading rumors, but all in all, Nunu was being judged by her new association. The young lady started receiving threats on her life with people she once called friends, considering her a op. Nunu took the threat serious and decided it was time to get her and her daughter out the city to start a new life. She eventually took her and her daughter and headed south to Atlanta. Now in a new place, Nunu was out of harm's way, but for whatever reasons, not long after, she would return back home. Shay, still mad about the fallout, was lurking on Nunu's Facebook and realized she was back in town. On October 14, 2012, Shay was at a friend's house. Also there at the time was a member of the East Side Boys, 20-year-old Joseph Campbell. When Shay told the man, "Your girl Nunu back in town," that's when Joseph told her, "F that B, she a op." After that, Joseph, now knowing the person who was rumored to have something to do with one of their guys getting hit was back in town, called other members of the gang to come pick him up, including a man named Cornelius Bell and another man named D'Angelo Masterjohn. About 1:30 p.m., all the men ended up at a Super USA gas station on East 7th and Cypress, before they all headed to a gang safe house not too far away to politic. Then about 2 p.m., as Nunu was out enjoying her city, the young lady was sitting in an SUV, parked in the alley behind the 900 block of Rainy Avenue. She didn't realize she had been spotted though, as the three members had left the gang house and started spinning blocks. Close to Halloween, Joseph was wearing a scary face mask on his head. The young man stated, "I can't believe it. There she go. There go that B-word Nunu." The car the three men were in stopped close by the alley as Nunu was sitting in the truck. Somebody opened the door, called her name like, "Hey Nunu," before letting off multiple shots, striking the young lady before the shooter fled. As the driver of the car Nunu was in called for help, St. Paul police responded to the scene to find the young mother suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, and unfortunately, she would pass away from her injuries. As police realized over 16 shots had been fired, they knew it was a targeted attack. Talking to the driver of the SUV Nunu was shot in and other witnesses on the scene, they all stated a man ran up wearing a Halloween mask. When asked did Nunu have any enemies, one person stated just a recent back and forth on Facebook with an old friend after being accused of setting someone up for an opposing gang. Family members told detectives the young lady had just came back in town. She had recently left because she was in fear for her life. This led detectives to search Nunu's social media. They saw her and Shay having a small back and forth, and the post that started it all was Shay telling Nunu, "You shouldn't have never told me about that situation with Dominic." Police went to grab Shay and bring her in for an interview. She admitted her and Nunu had fell out prior to the back and forth on social media. She stated all of their associates viewed Nunu as an op and wanted retaliation, but she claimed she didn't know who would actually shoot the young lady. As the interview got more aggressive, she admitted she was lurking on Nunu's page and told Joseph she was back in town. She also claimed it was rumors going around of East Side members being involved. She admitted Joseph was mad and felt Nunu should be dealt with after she told him what Nunu allegedly told her involving Dominic's death. Detectives, being familiar with the gang, started a deeper investigation and got surveillance footage of the area. The video caught D'Angelo, Joseph, and Cornelius at a gas station earlier that day, passing around the same mask the person who shot Nunu was wearing. Joseph had disappeared after the hit, which made other witnesses feel comfortable enough to come forward. They claimed word was going around the streets he was the one who did that to Nunu, and the two others also knew about the hit. As police located Cornelius and D'Angelo, they questioned the men. After letting them know they pretty much already knew what happened. D'Angelo, who was stated to be the driver, said he didn't know who shot who, but he knows Cornelius and Joseph got out the car after spotting Nunu. Cornelius stated he was just riding around that day with the other two and had no information about the shooting. But with surveillance showing the men all together right before the hit with the same mask, they were both held and taken into custody. Cornelius charged with conspiracy to commit a hit to further benefit a gang and aiding and abetting before and after the fact. D'Angelo was also hit with the same charges. A few weeks would go by before police located Joseph, with the streets pointing at him as the shooter. He was charged with first degree and second degree hit, also conspiracy, and taken into custody. As the case started making its way to trial, Shay became one of the state's key witnesses. As Nunu's family packed the courtroom, the young lady took the stand and claimed she was also now in fear for her own life after now cooperating with the state. She gave the court the rundown about the fallout between her and Nunu, stating she was hurt and put out information Nunu told her. Then as the situation escalated, more people wanted to know, was the situation true? She claimed when she realized Nunu was back in town, she told one of the members, Joseph, who let it be known she would not make it out the city, and stated Nunu was now an op. Shay also stated Joseph had a gun on him that day. With her testimony, Joseph was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to life in prison. With no evidence D'Angelo or Cornelius knew what was about to take place that day, both men conspiracy charges were dropped, and D'Angelo received 30 days in jail for aiding and abetting, and Cornelius 6 years for aiding and abetting and lying to police, in which his attorneys argued he was in fear for his own life. Even though Nunu's family received justice, the bloodshed didn't stop there. In 2017, D'Angelo got into an argument with a man named Charles Jones in the east side of Red Wing in Minnesota when he was shot and didn't survive his injuries. In 2018, Charles would get 10 years in a plea agreement. Rewind a little bit before that, in 2015, while family and friends were celebrating Nunu's life, they were all at a vigil at the same block she was hit at when someone opened fire on the crowd. A father, family man, and person who was just there to support the family, 37-year-old Sanika George, was shot as he tried to shield the kids from getting hit. He unfortunately wouldn't survive his injuries. That case is still unsolved. Rest in peace to Naressa, D'Angelo, Dominic, and Sanika. I send my prayers and condolences to all their families. The streets is a vicious cycle of retaliation, get back, some innocent lives caught up in the crossfire. It's nothing to glorify. I'm not sure if Nunu had anything to do with Dominic's death, but if she didn't and Shay did spread a rumor like that, she has to also face her own karma. This is a message for the youth. I know being gang might seem cool, having ops, being in the streets, until all you do or the people you are associated with get that reverse card flipped on them. At the end, all sides shed tears and suffer. Nobody wins. Just an ongoing genocide of a certain people. Wake up and remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, it's a crazy story, crazy situation. Rest in peace to everybody that lost their life in this situation. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all definitely let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.